Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Phillips for Living Reason. This is a simple, I guess you might say, foundational video on my initial thoughts as I start working on the philosophy of mathematics. To some extent, this might be a redo of an earlier video I did, but here we go. So for this video, the starting points, these sort of anchors of what I'm going to do as I try to develop an idea and a philosophy of mathematics, and why I've picked those anchors, the personal/intellectual reasons. So there are two anchors. One, I want to defend mathematics as being true in a very robust way, definitely not accepting that mathematics is a matter of opinion. Obviously, when you're diving into to what extent are these sort of abstract objects, that's a tricky term. But when you're discussing the truth value of math and what truth values refer to, and whether there can be facts about objects that seem to be unreal in some way, I don't want to just say it's true without realizing there's going to be some at least fleshing out of what that means. But I'm going to defend mathematics as being true in a very robust sense. That is, math is true, it is real. The people who want to argue that 2 + 2 = 5 are wrong in a substantial way. And it's a little bit more than just they're trolling you or something like that. That there's something substantially wrong with disagreeing with. You are substantially wrong when you disagree with mathematical facts. Two is sort of a condition of one in some sense. I'm going to look for and defend a notion that mathematics has to fundamentally come from the world. Now, I don't mean that in a sort of radically empirical way. I think mathematics is definitely about the development of concepts or ideas. But I think the explanation for, in some of what grounds mathematical truth, explaining where math comes from, why it is sensible to talk about certain mathematics as true or false, and of course things like historical explanations, where that I really want to look for a view of mathematics that can explain mathematics in relatively grounded terms. So I definitely don't want to defend mathematics as being real via some sort of transcendental object or Platonic form. And I want to try to stay away from the more sort of robust kinds of abstract objects as the explanation of math. So a really quick breakdown of what I'm currently thinking is that, or just to flesh out, a quick idea of what I'm currently thinking is that mathematics is about developing particular kinds of concepts to the point where you develop something like the concept of a well-behaved, sort of formal, logical, hypothetical object. So with counting, for instance, we develop some idea of counting with, say, apples or oranges. Apples and oranges are very different, but we can count both of them. So, we have apples or oranges or sheep or chickens or computers or industrial air conditioners. We can count them, and we eventually happen to notice the slightly more abstract idea that we can talk about counting with no pretense of it being about any particular object. We can just say if you're counting what number comes after 12. We don't have to say if you're counting apples, what number of apples is after 12 apples. So you develop that idea, and I think that has to somehow explain that development of the concept of sort of formal hypothetical objects, the actual imagining of mathematical objects via abstracting from particular objects. That has to somehow be the grounding, as opposed to thinking in, say, Platonic terms that there is the number 2 that is somehow out in the, I guess universe is the wrong term, but out in reality, and we somehow gain awareness of to the thing. I tend to think math has to be built the other way around, that we develop and somewhat empirically construct the idea of these hypothetical objects. And once we construct the hypothetical, we become aware of, say we accept this hypothetical, let's pretend it's real. What are its properties, given that it's hypothetical? I think something like that is the explanation for what mathematics is. So anybody watching who made it through the video, obviously, this is very tentative. Obviously, I do not claim to have solved mathematics. I greatly appreciate your feedback, reading suggestions. If you enjoy my content or you're hopeful that I'll be working towards something good, please share, please subscribe, all the normal social media stuff. It does mean a lot to me. I do love constructive criticism. Thank you very much to anybody watching. This is Joshua Phillips for Living Reason. Have a nice day.